Dispatch, the game where you're a retired superhero sitting in an office all day, babysitting invisible, while also managing a whole team of screw-ups trying to better themselves. Wow, that sure does sound fun, don't it? Well, let me tell you, it is pretty fun. Because the story of how Dispatch was made is a weird one, considering this is Adhoc Studios' first debut indie title, and the game also cost around $35 million to $50 million to make, which is a massive amount for an up-and-coming studio. But it seems all that hard work paid off, considering they have sold around 4 million copies so far and made a total gross revenue of $110 million to $130 million. And it's also interesting to see what platforms bought the game the most, with Steam taking the lead at 2.4 million units sold, PlayStation right behind it with 1.2 million units, and the sad Switch in last place with 400,000 to 500,000 units sold. Wow, they actually allow penises on the Switch? Considering their success, those old Telltale devs definitely know what they're doing, don't they? Especially since they jumped ship right before Telltale's demise back in 2018. But they still can't make The Wolf Among Us 2. That's amazing. Making a choice-based game like this takes a lot of work, which is why it took Adhoc 7 years to fully make this game. Now, playing the game, I did really enjoy my time with it. It's been a while since a slow choice-based game like this has came out, since Telltale shut down, unfortunately. It was a breath of fresh air in the sea of fast-paced, ever-moving games that want your constant attention. And playing a game where you can make choices really puts you in the front seat of the main character, who is Robert, which is the retired superhero Mecha Man that unfortunately got his suit destroyed in his last battle with the villain Shroud. So the game takes you in his shoes, navigating his new office life while also trying to deal with a band of misfits with high sexual tensions for some reason. The characters were really good and extremely well voiced, with the characters like Aaron Paul voicing Mecha Man, voiced Critical voicing Sonar, and Paul Mercer voicing Shroud, which he's actually the Resident Evil 6 voice actor for Leon, so I think he did a pretty good job. The characters have a nice dynamic to them, especially the two love interests, Invisigal and Blonde Blazer. Invisibitch is a rogue loner that does what she basically wants. And knowing that, I knew I could fix her, considering she's the perfect girl for Robert. So pushing Blonde Blazer aside, I of course romanced Vizzy, which I think ultimately took some years off of Mecha Man's life. But it was deeper than that. Deep down, Invisigal was trying to redeem herself. She wanted to get better, she just needed someone that was there for her, which really plays into the great character writing in this game. Each individual character feels like they have an actual story to tell. Now, the animation in this game is basically next level since you're basically playing a show. There's no glitches or anything whatsoever in it, so it's pretty smooth throughout the whole thing. And it ties in great with the choices you can make, since back in the old Telltale days, the animations weren't the best whatsoever. But hey, they sure as hell had some charm to them.
It wasn't for touching kids, was it?
Oh, man, come on, man.
Now, getting into the choices, while this is a choice-based game, it has the same problem most choice-based games have, which is most choices not changing a damn thing about the story, apart from a couple big ones that are usually at the end. Telltale games had the same problem, and it seems it leaked over to the Adhoc studio as well. Which, don't get me wrong, making a game with a bunch of different endings and choices is hard, but it's doable considering we have games like Detroit Become Human, which is absolutely fantastic and you need to play it. But knowing that, how about we get into the choices and gameplay at Dispatch? What's not a better start than with therapy with the man you just kidnapped? Seems like a normal Saturday for me. But what would you know, our first choice of a game, you can either drop Toxic on his undeveloped head, or you can spare him. Being the nice person I am, I of course spared him, because sparing him might prove beneficial later. Hopefully so, because I started to interrogate their hideout. Finding my way to Shroud until, oh, it's Toxic, my dude. You're totally gonna let me slip by and, oh my gosh, you're dick's out. But even though I spared him, it's strange. We still started a fight. I thought sparing him would give me a different outcome, but he's a villain after all, so I decided to just fight everybody, but unfortunately my Mecha Man suit just couldn't withstand everything, so I had to make a quick escape. But little did I know, a bomb somehow got on the back of my suit and blew it to smithereens. So now, fast forward to today, and poor Robert is just a retired chud of a superhero. But he couldn't stop himself. He couldn't fully retire, because these guys were still on a TV and Robert just couldn't let that slide. So using his crippled body as a distraction, he successfully distracted the robbers until, out of nowhere, Blonde Blazer shows up to kick their ass and save Robert. But after that, she felt bad for poor Robert, so she took him to some hero bar where he gets harassed by a flambe. And since Robert's a hero, I could only make the most logical decision in the room. Which of course was glassing him with a glass of alcohol. Look at that man burn. And for some reason everyone got mad and kicked me out, so Blazer took me up on the billboard to seduce me, obviously. So I took the liberty and kissed her, which she handled pretty well. And with that, the first episode is done. It was only an hour long, but it was still pretty good, so I enjoyed my time with it. And it has some decent decisions in it as well. Now, episode 2 starts us off with almost making out with Waterboy, which is totally a sight I want to see. Yeah, totally. But just when things were getting good, a consequence of my choice I made was walking right through the front door of SDN. It was Flambe with his seared eyebrows, and he looked pissed. Luckily, he didn't see me, and my wife, Blonde Blazer, came to my rescue. She threw me in the conference room and ordered me to strip. So I did what any man would do and got to work. But little did I know someone was in there, watching me. It was the self-proclaimed hero Invizovich. Even her pervy eyes couldn't resist the dad bod. What a great introduction to the soon-to-be troublemaker of the Z-Team. So after Blazer got done showing her prize off to the whole office, poor old Robert needed to take a leak with his normal man bladder. And that's when the most important choice comes into play. The Rock comes out of nowhere and absolutely mogs me at the pisser. And being the Jamaican he is, he puts out a bro fist, so I of course had to give him a pissy bro fist. And afterwards, that's when you meet your old buddy Trackstar. He showed me the Z-Team and put me to work. Now, this is when we get to the actual dispatch. Listen, it is in the name of the game, of course, but I think it overstays its welcome throughout the game. Hearing the banter and actually managing the team is fun, but you can tell they put this out just to pad out the length of the game. If they had actual more gameplay and story choices you could pick, I think it'd be fine the way it is. But unfortunately, they don't have that. So as of now, it just pads out the game. After dispatching for a good 15 minutes, Invisigal decided to go get some donuts, where she was met with open arms. Granny picks up the gun and absolutely loses it. Granny's the one with the bazooka this time. It's at this point I could do my job. I could tell Vizzy what to do. So I told Vizzy to take out the thief, and she ignores me and beelines it right to Granny, which then proceeds to blow Granny the fuck up. Listen, I appreciate I was able to make my choice, and Fizzy being her own person, she made her own choice in that situation as well. But I feel like no matter what, it would have played out the same way, which kind of defeats the purpose of the choices, don't it? Hey, but that's fine. I can just talk with Vizzy in the break room. And oh, yeah, our relationship's going completely fine. And with that, episode 2 is complete. Seemed a lot of it was just dispatching, but it still had its story beats. Now, episode 3 starts off with about 5 minutes of dialogue and then throws you right back to dispatching. Wow, such innovative gameplay for something that took 7 years, right? So after about 20 minutes of dispatching these villains, heroes to help the public, the team wasn't going anywhere. So it was time to make a decision. Time to lay down my foot and be the badass superhero I am. So I took the Z-Team to the conference room and laid down the law. I told them one of their asses were going to get fired by the end of the day. So after another round of dispatching, it's finally time. Time to use my power to finally fire someone. It came down to two choices, Coop or Moist Critical. I of course had to pick Coop. I couldn't fire my boy Moist Critical. We make a good team, and I couldn't let that flame die. Coop, of course, didn't take it lightly and threatened me like the child she is. Hey, means I made the right call. And that brings us to the end of episode 3. There wasn't that much that happened in it other than dispatching and firing someone. And now episode 4 starts off pretty good by flexing in my Mecha Man suit that Royd's trying to fix while flirting with Invisigal all day. And Vizzy also told me she's been having special dreams about me, so that of course got me curious about her. So after some dispatching, it wouldn't be a normal day unless I'd bully Flambe. So I throw a protein shake at him. Bitch. And Blazer also wants me to pick a replacement hero. I had two of the best choices I could have. Waterboy or Depressed Man. And being the most logical choice, I went with Waterboy. Oh yeah, he's going to be a great addition to the team. And now, after even more dispatching, the day was finally over. I could go home and twiddle my... Oh, Vizzy texted me? She wanted to go see a movie, so I hightailed it over and went on a date with her. I mean, who couldn't resist this man? And after that successful date, episode 4 wraps up. Wow, this one had even more dialogue in it, only 4 episodes in. Now that starts us off with episode 5. But for the first 40 minutes of episode 5, it's literally nothing but dispatching. And I'm not even kidding. The only worthwhile thing that happens in the episode is the last 15 minutes, where after a hard day's work, you and the Z team want to go to a villain bar. So after walking in there and mingling around with some people, you start having a good time with the team. But being a hero and Mecha Man at that, villains start to notice you. That's when the small-armed bitch comes up, talking big game. So I did what any normal person would do with a cripple. I started beating his ass. And at this point, the whole Z team was fighting the bar, which was pretty fun. It has some QTE moments, which was better than nothing. And after the fight, you all get some burgers when Robert has the best decision ever. You can choose if you want to tell the team you are Mecha Man or not. Now, let me tell you something. It's always better to tell the truth, especially if you're in a relationship. Just a little bit of wisdom from me. So I picked the only right choice. I told them I was Mecha Man, which makes Flamboyant Boy go crazy. So he tried to burn me, but Young Gravy steps in and saves me. And with that, the episode is done. Not the best episode, that's for sure. Now, episode 6 starts off with trying out the Mecha Man suit until it ultimately fails in an explosion. Wow, Royd's just the best. So after limping back to the office to start dispatching, the Z team wants to throw a surprise party at your place tonight. So, after you get home from your shift, Robert's unexpected non-GFGF bursts through the door with Melvola and Royd. And shortly after, everyone crams into Robert's tiny little apartment, gathering noise complaints from his neighbors. But during this housewarming party, Invisigal said she knows where your Astropulse is for your suit, so she proposes to go get it tonight. And old-ass Trackstar did not like that idea whatsoever, which makes Vizzy get pissed. And I'll spare you the details, but being the child Vizzy is, she goes to the warehouse and gets in trouble. Robert's got to work some overtime now, so he has to help Vizzy hack the warehouse. And after some time, she eventually finds the Astropulse. But Shroud's there, right behind her. And being the asthmatic girl Invisigirl is, Shroud throws down a smoke bomb, incapacitating Invisigirl. And that's when Trackstar looks at you and says, "Keep up," and sprints right out of the apartment. He of course goes and saves Vizzy, but upon bringing her to a little park, you watch Trackstar have a heart attack and fall over. His poor old man heart just couldn't take it anymore. Episode 6 is done, It was a pretty decent episode. And now we get to episode 7, and it starts off with a little backstory of how Trackstar and Robert met. And after that, you end up finding out how Trackstar, thankfully, is still alive. And Blonde Blazer, being the pick-me she is, she tries cheering you up by giving you some money for the vending machine. Nice, Blonde Blazer. That is exactly what I wanted. But after breaking down in tears, duty calls, and it's time to go back to dispatching. And now the team's not in the best spirits, but Robert tries his best. But after a hard day's work, your shift is finally over, and you want to go home when Punch Up gets his ass thrown through the conference room door. What was the Z team doing? Well, they were holding their own meeting. They wanted Vizzy kicked off the team for what she did yesterday. So, you have to make a choice to either kick her off or defend her. And I felt this choice was one of those that actually matters. So with me and Vizzy being a thing, I of course had to defend her. I wouldn't be a good boyfriend if I just cut her off, would I? And what do you know? She was actually in the room the whole time. So yeah, I definitely got some brownie points. But when she leaves the room, you follow her into the locker room. But that's where she drops a bomb on you. She was the one who planted the bomb on your Mecha Man suit. She worked with the villains. She caused you all this pain. So I, of course, brushed everything off and forgave her. She was shocked at my chivalry, so she pins me up against the wall and kisses me. And after a long day of work, you decide to go to a bar. The bartender starts to piss Robert off. And what do you know? You get the best choice of the game available. I glass his ass to the ground when suddenly this dude next to me gets up and blasts the bartender's brains out. It was Shroud. So, me being powerless in this bar with Shroud, they beat my ass, tie me up, and start playing Russian roulette with me. When out of nowhere, Shroud drops the bomb. Vizzy played me. Shroud didn't have the Astro Pulse, and Visigal did. While I was processing this, the girl I should have romanced bursts through the door and saves my ass. And what do you know? That was it for episode 7. There was a whole bunch of lore stuff dropped in this episode, so it was actually pretty good. Now, episode 8 starts, and it's our final episode. Oh, I'm so excited to see the consequences of my actions. You start out in the office, and it's absolute chaos. The red ring is out all over the city, and I was short-staffed. So I needed to work hard. But it turns out most of the Z team was kidnapped, so you had to save them one by one, which I thought was a pretty nice mix-up from the otherwise stale dispatching. And after saving everyone, it was still too much and you were being overrun. But that's when Blonde Blazer and Depressed Man comes in to help you. And after dispatching for a bit, the SDN building starts getting attacked. So you run into the basement to see Royd fighting Invisigal. He of course ties her up and tells you your Mecha Man suit is in the other room, just in case you need it. He's sure to tell you not to untie Vizzy. So I of course tell him I won't. But with her being my GF, I couldn't just let her sit there. So I untied her. But unfortunately an enemy comes down, so Robert has to get ready. And while this dude is pissing, he goes in for the kill when Vizzy shoots him and saves Robert. Look, I knew she was good. And now the building was getting overrun, so I had to step in. It was time for Mecha Man to come back. I ran right to my suit. I was able to fight again. So I started fighting the red ring when Shroud comes out of nowhere in his own mecha. And at this point, I knew it was the final showdown. But while fighting Shroud, the stupid bitch Coop shows up. So I had to deal with her fast by shooting her wings off. Bitch can't betray me and live. But my fight with Shroud wasn't going great. He bitch slapped Blonde Blazer, and he had me pinned. He was about to kill Robert, when out of nowhere, Trackstar comes and saves the day wearing Blonde Blazer's suit. Cause it turns out Blonde Blazer gets her powers from her suit. Wow, how convenient for the plot. So I'm now able to kick Shroud's ass. And I super spirit bomb his ass. And at this point, we thought we won when Shroud gets out of his suit and somehow has Robert's dog. He made a proposition to me. If I just give him the Astral Pulse, he wouldn't hurt my dog. And I'm not crazy, so I did what anyone would do. I gave him both. My genius is well past yandere devs now. I gave him both the real one and the fake one that Royd made. And it was a 50-50 shot on which one he'd put into his head. So I obviously made the right call since he started throwing up everywhere. But he wasn't done yet. He pulls out his revolver, points it at Robert, and pulls the trigger. It doesn't hit Robert, it hits Vizzy. She was in front of me the whole time. She saved me. And now Robert could only see red. He pounced on Shroud, making sure to stay above his chest, and started to pound his face in. And it was time for the choice we wanted all along. I could kill Shroud or spare him. And I, of course, chose to spare him. I thought if I did that, it'd be worse than killing him since he'd rot in a cell all his life. I also thought we'd get some cool ending explanation on what happens with him. But guess what? We don't. But hey, Invisigal was alright. And I got a kiss. So with Shroud and the Red Ring defeated, it was time for a celebration. Everyone was happy. But that's when the last choice finally arrives. When they were arresting everyone, they started arresting Coop. And this was it. My final decision. I could either let them arrest her, or I could say she's with us. And after all she did, you thought I was going to forgive her? She's a child and she tried to kill me. So I wanted to press forget, but it chose forgive for me. Now listen, this is supposed to be a choice-based game, but I didn't make that choice. Now I don't know if that's just my controller being fucky, but I didn't like that at all. She's a villain. But with that out the way, it was time to finally take a picture with the team. And once I took it, that was it. The game was finally over. Now look, I thought it was a good game. I like what they did, and I love that they're bringing back choice-based games again. And even though a lot of the choices don't matter, there's still some big ones that you can tell change the story. Like at the end, Invisigal could have stayed with Shroud instead of staying with me and the Z team. But I also don't like how games like this are so short, which I guess is a drawback of all the choices you can make. But with that being said, thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe if you want. And go watch some of my other videos if you love this one. Thank you and God bless you all.